According to ancient psychology, your preferred style of PKing can predict your personality with an accuracy of 99.9%. So, I'm going to present 10 different styles of PKing and what they say about you as a person. And if you're currently not a PKer, you can simply watch and see which description applies to you the most, and you will instantly know which style of PKing you should go for. So let's begin with the most basic one, the free-to-play PKer. You hate change, both in real life and on RuneScape. You're probably around 30, but your mental age is at least 60. You have worked the same job since you graduated high school and have been wearing the same clothes for the last 15 years, and you have no plans on changing any of that. You tried members PKing once, but you died to a Gmail in 2 seconds, and since then you have voted no to every single poll. Up next we have the GE Venge PKer. You're a good boy. You love rules and hate when people break them. You were that kid in school who reminded the teacher about the homework. If you wouldn't have spent your life hanging around the GE, hoping for a big AGS spec, and complaining when people eat 1 HP too high, you could probably have become a decent lawyer or similar. Now you work some low-tier office job where you are loved by your boss because you follow each and every single rule, and you also make sure that your colleagues do the same. Then we have the deep-willed nature. You're a high achiever, but also a narcissist. You work some job that you're probably good at, but you hate it because you have to deal with other people, and you hate both authority and teamwork, because you know everyone else is stupid and you're simply the best and smartest. So you prefer to do pretty much everything on your own. And if someone happens to be better than you will find all kinds of crazy explanations and excuses to why that is actually not the case. On RuneScape, tanking an AGS spec on robes, protect mage and 70 HP will ruin your whole day, because even if they hit a 0, technically they killed you. But you will of course blame bad ping if that ever happens. Next up, we have the small team PKer. You're an okay dude. You have a half-decent college education, you work some office job that is pretty chill and allows you to train agility on work time. You PK for fun with a few like-minded friends, and you're all pretty bad at PKing with no intent of getting better, because you're okay with being bad. Just like you're fine with where you are in life and have no real plans of improving, because improvement is challenging and you crumble when you're faced with an actual challenge in life. Just like you crumble when you encounter the previously mentioned deep-willed nature in a single combat zone. But consider yourself lucky, because you're the only person on this list who has a chance of having a girlfriend, although that chance is very slim. Next up, we have the official clans or big clan PKer. You have always dreamt about being a gangster. You talk like one and you only listen to rap music. The only problem is that you haven't left your mom's basement for the last 10 years. So becoming a real gangster is not an option for you. But fortunately, the big PvP clans of RuneScape are looking for people just like you. So you join, and now you're officially in a gang, and you can act, talk and have beefs just like a real gangster. The only difference is that you do it on a point and click game from 2007, and you can do it safely from your mom's basement. And then we have the notorious Ragger. While the small team PKer is doing okay in life with no plans of improving, you're doing shit in life with no plans of improving. So you do everything you can to bring others down instead. You're the type of guy who gets jealous because a colleague is doing better than you. So instead of trying to become better yourself, you start rumors about them and talk about how bad they actually are at the job. Of course, people can see right through you and you eventually get fired. So now you're crying about how unfair the job market is and how your horrible life situation is everyone's fault but your own. In PvP, you're the guy who accuses someone of HK when they do a one-tick two-way, and you also call people nerds for being better than you at the game, while at the same time you spend 10 plus hours per day riding people in the wilderness. And then we have the Rusher. You don't care about social norms, or more like, you don't understand what social norms are, so you just do and say whatever you want. You're the type of person who can ruin a perfectly fine evening by bringing up strong political opinions or saying something very offensive out of nowhere. You may also start screaming at other people's children when they don't behave the way you want them to. If you get confronted, you will always play the victim and try to get out of there. And even if you don't do anything at that very moment, your mere presence will make people uncomfortable because of how unpredictable you are. Next up, we have the anti-PKer. Your life revolves around impressing people who underestimate you. You probably drive around in a tuned old Volvo with 1000 horsepower, just waiting for a sports car to appear so you can smoke it. You also make half decent amount of money but live in a shitty apartment, just so you can impress people when they ask how much money you make. At the same time, you get really mad when people are actually doing better than you, or they simply don't get impressed by you. Just like in the wilderness, when you get hit by a PKer who doesn't sit at half HP and lets you kill him, you get triggered and start flaming him. The next PKer doesn't really have a name. It's a PKer who only kills PVMers or defenseless people. You're the type of person who is an absolute asshole to the people who you consider to be below you, and an absolute suck-up to people who you consider to be above you. You're the puppet middle manager with no backbone, who is hated by workers but loved by higher managers. You love the feeling of being superior to workers, but your worst nightmare is getting shit from a higher manager. If that happens, you just lay down flat and agree on everything they ask from you. In the wilderness, you're hated by PVMers because you keep going for them over and over again. Not for the loot, but for an ego boost. But at the same time, you absolutely fear even the slightest sight of another PKer and will run instantly and tell them to off if they hit you. You're also the anti-PKer's dream target, and you're the only person on this list who cares about your KD ratio. And finally, last but not least, we have the skull trickers and lurers. You work in sales and you have absolutely no morals. You would happily make an old lady with dementia waste her final life savings on that ultimate cleaning machine, so you can earn a little extra money. Just like you would happily skull trick a noob for his hard-earned full granite. You act entitled to the money you're about to swindle someone for and get absolutely furious if someone, for example that old lady's grandson, convinces her not to fall for your quote-unquote offer. Just like you get absolutely furious when some other PKer stumbles upon you in the wilderness and ruins your skull trick.